The desert heat was merciless. The sun blazed over the dry, endless land, where nothing moved except the wind and the vultures circling in the sky. Deep in the shadows of a crumbling warehouse near the border, a group of men sat in silence. They weren't ordinary men. They were ex-soldiers, war veterans, ghosts of past battles. At the center of the group stood Jack Slater, a former Navy SEAL with a scar running down his cheek and eyes that had seen too much death. He looked at his team, men he once fought beside. There was Cole Ramirez, a sniper with Mexican roots and a deadly aim. Ethan Brooks, the demolitions expert, built like a tank. Marcus Kane, a computer genius who could hack into any system. And Reggie Ghost Carter, a stealth specialist who could disappear into thin air. They were brothers, and now they had a new war to fight. Jack threw a folder onto the table. The men leaned in. Inside were pictures of men in black SUVs, stacks of cash, and bags of cocaine. And at the center of it all, one face. Diego Fuentes, the ruthless leader of the Crimson Cartel, the biggest drug and weapons smuggling operation on the US-Mexico border. Jack's voice was cold. These guys murdered my brother. The room went silent. Everyone knew about Jack's brother. Danny Slater had been a DEA agent. A good man. 2 weeks ago, his body was found in the desert, beaten, tortured, and shot. No arrests were made. No investigation. The cartel had the police in their pocket. Jack's jaw tightened. I'm done waiting for justice. We take Fuentes down. We destroy his operation. Cole nodded. I'm in. Ethan cracked his knuckles. Let's burn them to the ground. Marcus smirked. Time to make some noise. Ghost simply whispered, let's hunt. The mission was set. The war had begun. The cartel's shipment was coming in that night. Marcus had hacked into the cartel's communications and tracked their route. They were using an old highway, bringing in a truck loaded with drugs and illegal weapons. Jack and his team set up an ambush. Midnight, the road was empty except for the sound of crickets. The moon cast a silver glow over the desert. Then headlights. A black truck heavily armored followed by 2 SUVs. Jack watched through binoculars. His earpiece crackled. Target in sight. He signaled his team. Ghost crawled into position hidden in the shadows. Cole perched on a hill, sniper ready. Ethan set up explosives under the road. Marcus controlled a drone from his laptop. Jack whispered into the radio. Wait for my signal. The convoy rolled closer. Closer. Then boom! The explosion rocked the night as Ethan's charge blew the road apart. The truck skidded, tires screeching, metal twisting. Gunfire erupted. Jack and his men moved like shadows, taking down cartel guards with precise shots. Cole's sniper rifle cracked. A cartel gunman dropped. Ghost appeared behind another, knife flashing, silent, deadly. Ethan threw a grenade into the second SUV. Flames lit the sky. In less than 3 minutes, it was over. Jack yanked open the truck door. Inside, drugs, guns, and crates labeled property of the US military. His stomach turned. This wasn't just a cartel operation. Someone in the government was involved. Before he could react, Marcus's voice shouted over the radio. Jack, incoming. We have company. In the distance, headlights appeared. Reinforcements. And they were coming fast. The team barely made it out alive. With the truck destroyed, they retreated to their safe house, an abandoned farmhouse in the desert. Jack studied the crates they recovered. Military-grade weapons, marked with US Army serial numbers. Marcus tapped furiously on his laptop. I hacked into their shipments. The cartel has been buying weapons from inside the military. Someone high up is helping them. Jack's mind raced. Who? Marcus frowned. I don't know yet. But we're not just fighting a cartel anymore. A loud bang shattered the moment. The farmhouse door exploded inward. Gunmen stormed in. Cartel soldiers. They had been followed. Gunfire filled the air. Jack grabbed his rifle and fired. Ghost disappeared into the shadows. Cole took cover, sniping from the stairs. Ethan grabbed a shotgun. Let's dance. The battle was brutal. Bullets ripped through walls. Glass shattered. Jack fought his way to the back door, only to be met with a rifle barrel. A man stood there, tall, smirking. Diego Fuentes. Hola, Senor Slater, Fuentes said calmly. You killed my men. Now I return the favor. He raised his gun. Jack braced for death. Bang! A single gunshot rang out. Fuentes staggered. Blood spread across his chest. He fell. Jack turned. Behind him stood Sarah Mitchell, a DEA agent, and Danny Slater's old partner. She lowered her smoking pistol. "You boys need some help?" With Fuentes dead, the cartel was crippled. But something was wrong. Sarah tossed a file onto the table. Fuentes was a puppet. The real mastermind is still out there. Jack opened the file. Inside was a picture of a man in a suit. A general, Brigadier General Victor Harlan, a high-ranking U.S. military officer. He was selling weapons to the cartel. Jack's hands clenched into fists. "We end this. We take him down." Sarah nodded. "There's just one problem." Jack looked up. She sighed. "He has the entire government protecting him." The mission had just gotten deadlier. The explosion rocked the airstrip. Jack's grenade launcher sent a fireball straight into the military chopper's engine. Flames erupted as the rotor blades spun out of control. Boom! The chopper crashed onto the runway, sending debris flying. Harlan's soldiers panicked. Some ran, others fired blindly into the night. Jack's team took advantage. Cole sniped from the shadows, dropping enemy soldiers one by one. Ethan charged forward with a shotgun, blasting through the chaos. Ghost moved like a phantom, taking down men with a knife before they even saw him. Sarah covered the freed hostages, leading them to safety. Marcus shouted over the radio, "Planes disabled." "Harlan's running!" Jack's eyes locked onto his target. Harlan, the general, was sprinting toward an armored SUV, shoving a wounded soldier out of the driver's seat. Jack took off after him. Gunfire whizzed past his head. He didn't stop. Harlan slammed the door shut and revved the engine. Jack jumped onto the hood. Harlan swerved violently, trying to shake him off. Jack clung to the windshield, raising his pistol. Bang! A shot shattered the glass, but Harlan ducked, swerving again. The SUV skidded onto the highway. Jack smashed his fist through the glass and grabbed the steering wheel. "Not today, you son of a crash!" The SUV flipped. Jack was thrown through the air, hitting the asphalt hard. His vision blurred. His body screamed in pain. But he forced himself up. The SUV lay upside down, smoke rising. Harlan crawled out, bloodied but alive. Jack staggered toward him, gun raised. "No more running," Jack growled. Harlan chuckled weakly, wiping blood from his mouth. "You think killing me will stop this? You have no idea who you're dealing with." Jack cocked his pistol. "Enlighten me." Harlan smirked. "I was never working alone." Bang! A gunshot echoed. Jack felt a burning pain in his side. He collapsed to his knees. From the shadows, a mysterious figure stepped forward, dressed in a black suit, holding a silenced pistol. Jack's vision blurred, but he saw the figure whisper something to Harlan. Then darkness. Jack woke up in a cold, dimly lit room. His hands were tied to a chair. His head pounded. A door creaked open. Harlan stepped inside, bandaged but grinning. Behind him stood the mysterious figure, a tall man in a sleek suit, his face emotionless. "Good morning, Slater," Harlan sneered. Jack gritted his teeth. "Go to hell!" Harlan laughed. "I should have killed you long ago. But my friend here wanted to meet you." The suited man stepped forward. His voice was smooth, calm. "My name is Vincent Marquez. I run the operation now." Jack's jaw tightened. "Another cartel boss?" Marquez smiled. "Not quite. Unlike Fuentes, I don't deal in petty drug trades. I deal in power. Governments, warlords, politicians, everyone has a price." Jack's stomach twisted. "You're Black Ops." Marquez nodded. "Officially, I don't exist. Unofficially, I control things you can't even imagine." Harlan smirked. "You think I was the mastermind?" "I was just another player. Marquez is the real power." Jack's mind raced. This wasn't just about weapons or drugs. This was a global conspiracy. Marquez leaned closer. "You and your team have been a thorn in my side, but I'm offering you a way out." Jack's eyes narrowed. "I'm not interested." Marquez sighed. "That's disappointing." He pulled out a tablet and pressed play. A live video feed appeared, showing Jack's team in the bunker. Sarah, Ethan, Cole, Ghost, Marcus. Surrounded, outnumbered. Marquez smiled. "One call and they're dead." Jack's heart pounded. He had to think. Then an explosion rocked the building. Gunfire erupted from the screen. Jack's team was fighting back. Marquez's smirk faded. "What?" Jack seized the moment. With every ounce of strength, he broke the chair's legs, snapped the zip ties, and lunged. Crack! His fist smashed into Harlan's face. The general crumpled. Jack grabbed the chair and swung it at Marquez. The agent dodged, drawing his pistol. Jack tackled him. The gun fired. Bang! Grazing Jack's arm. Jack twisted Marquez's wrist. Snap! The gun dropped. Jack grabbed it and turned it on Harlan. The general coughed, spitting blood. You won't stop this? Jack's finger hovered over the trigger. Then through the earpiece in Marquez's pocket, Jack heard a familiar voice. Jack, you there? We're coming for you. It was Sarah. Jack exhaled. He wasn't alone. He turned to Marquez. This isn't over. Then he ran. Jack burst out of the building into the blinding desert sun. The bunker was under attack. His team had come for him. Gunfire echoed as Cole sniped from a nearby ridge. Ethan and Ghost fought through cartel soldiers. Sarah drove a stolen truck straight through the gates. Jack sprinted toward them. Get in! He jumped into the truck. Sarah floored the gas. Behind them, Marquez and Harlan ran out, shouting orders. Suddenly, a helicopter lifted off. Marquez was escaping. Jack grabbed a rifle and climbed onto the truck's roof. The chopper rose higher. Jack jumped. He caught the landing gear mid-air. The chopper shook as Marquez fired at him. Jack climbed up and smashed through the cockpit window. A brutal fight erupted. Marquez swung a knife. Jack dodged, grabbing his wrist. They struggled, the knife inches from Jack's throat. Jack headbutted him. The knife clattered to the floor. Marquez roared, reaching for a pistol. Jack grabbed him and shoved him out of the chopper. Marquez screamed, then vanished into the desert below. The helicopter spun out of control. Jack grabbed the controls, barely steadying it before crash landing in the sand. The battle was over. Jack staggered out, covered in dust. His team ran to him. Sarah smirked. You always have to make things dramatic. Jack exhaled. It's done. Harlan was dead. Marquez was gone. The cartel was destroyed. Justice was served. Or so they thought. In the shadows, a figure watched from afar. A phone rang. A voice answered. Yes, sir. Marquez is dead, but Slater survived. A pause. Then the voice said, Send the next face. Jack stood in the desert, staring at the wreckage of the helicopter. The dust settled, the silence deafening. The battle was over. Jack staggered out, covered in dust. His team ran to him. Sarah smirked. You always have to make things dramatic. Jack exhaled. It's done. Harlan was dead. Marquez was gone. The cartel was destroyed. Justice was served. Or so they thought. In the shadows, a figure watched from afar. A phone rang. A voice answered. Yes, sir. Marquez is dead, but Slater survived. A pause. Then the voice said, Send the next phase. Jack stood in the desert, staring at the wreckage of the helicopter. The dust settled, the silence deafening. The battle was over, but something didn't feel right. Sarah pulled up in the truck, dust kicking up around her tires. She jumped out, rifle in hand. You okay? Jack nodded, but his mind was racing. Marquez was dead. Harlan was gone. Yet why did it feel like this wasn't over? Cole, Ethan, Ghost, and Marcus joined them. Ethan wiped sweat from his brow. So, that's it? We win? Cole's sniper rifle was still raised. He scanned the horizon. I don't like this. Ghost, usually silent, spoke up. Someone's watching. Jack's gut tightened. He felt it too. A distant phone rang. A satellite phone lay in the wreckage. Jack picked it up. The screen flashed a single word. Unknown caller. His finger hovered over the answer button. Then he pressed it. A distorted voice crackled through the speaker. You think it's over? You have no idea what you've started. Jack's blood ran cold. Who is this? The voice chuckled. A ghost, a shadow, the real enemy. Jack exchanged a look with Sarah. She frowned. Marquez was supposed to be the real enemy. The voice continued. Marquez was just another piece on the board. Harlan was a pawn. But you, Jack, you just walked into a war far bigger than you can imagine. Jack tightened his grip. Where are you? The voice ignored him. You want to know who really runs things? Look deeper. You've burned down one operation, but there are hundreds more. You can't stop them all. Jack's jaw clenched. Watch me. The voice laughed softly. Let's see how long you last, Commander Slater. The call ended. Silence. Jack lowered the phone. His team watched him. Marcus spoke first. That didn't sound like a cartel boss. Jack stared at the wreckage. No, it sounded like someone bigger. Ghost's voice was calm. We just made enemies we can't even see. Jack turned to his team. We're not done. Back at their new hideout, an old underground bunker in Texas, Marcus worked furiously on his laptop. Sarah paced behind him. Who was on that call? Marcus tapped his keyboard. I traced the signal. It bounced through 7 different servers across the world. Whoever it was, they don't want to be found. Jack crossed his arms. Find them anyway. Marcus frowned. Already trying. But whoever they are, they're deep. Military-grade security. This is above cartel level. Ghost leaned against the wall. They knew Jack's name. Cole's face darkened. Which means they know all of ours. Jack looked at his team. They had fought cartels, corrupt generals, traffickers. But this was something else. Sarah folded her arms. So what's the plan? Jack took a deep breath. We find out who these people are. We take them down, just like we did with the cartel. Ethan scoffed. And what if they're 10 times bigger? Jack's eyes burned with determination. Then we hit them 10 times harder. A beep from Marcus's laptop. He sat up straight. Got something. The team crowded around. Marcus spun the screen around. A name, a location, a target. A photo appeared. A man in a suit, bald, sharp blue eyes. Gold expression. Named Conrad Voss. Affiliation, private intelligence firm. Location, Berlin, Germany. Jack studied the name. Who is he? Marcus's fingers flew across the keyboard. Ex-CIA. Disappeared 5 years ago. No public record since, but he pulled up another image. A photo of Voss shaking hands with Marquez. The pieces clicked. Jack exhaled. Marquez wasn't the head of the snake. Voss is. Sarah nodded. And he's still out there. Cole slung his rifle over his shoulder. Then let's go hunting. Jack turned to Marcus. Book us a flight. Marcus smirked. Already done. Jack took one last look at the satellite phone. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning. The plane hummed softly as it soared over the Atlantic. Jack sat near the window, staring into the dark sky. His mind wasn't on the view. It was on the mission. Berlin. They were heading straight into enemy territory. Hunting Conrad Voss, the man behind Marquez, the real mastermind. Sarah leaned over. You ready for this? Jack exhaled. I don't think we have a choice. Cole loaded a pistol. The cartel was one thing. But this is something bigger. Marcus, typing furiously on his laptop, didn't look up. Yeah, and we're walking into it blind. Ethan stretched. Good, I hate easy fights. Ghost, sitting quietly in the corner, finally spoke. We'll need a plan. Jack nodded. We'll make one when we land. Because right now, all they had was a name and a target. The streets of Berlin were cold, bustling with life. Neon lights flickered. Taxis zipped past. Tourists took photos of old buildings. But Jack and his team weren't sightseeing. Marcus led them into a quiet cafe. He tapped his laptop. Voss owns a private intelligence firm called Umbra Group. On the surface, they do security contracts for governments. But I traced multiple offshore accounts linked to weapons deals, cyber warfare, and assassination networks. Sarah sipped her coffee. And where is he? Marcus smirked. Penthouse suite. Skyline Tower, top floor. Ethan whistled. Of course. Rich villains love their penthouses. Cole adjusted his earpiece. Security? Marcus pulled up blueprints. State-of-the-art. Armed guards. Motion sensors. Facial recognition at every entry point. Ghost leaned forward. So we walk through the front door? Jack grinned. No, we take the back way. Midnight. The skyline glittered as Jack and Ghost scaled the adjacent building. The cold wind bit at their skin. Jack checked his earpiece. Marcus, we in? Marcus's voice crackled. Security cameras are on a loop, but you have 10 minutes before their system resets. Jack nodded. Ghost hooked up the zipline. One shot, one chance. Jack grabbed the handle, took a deep breath. Then he leaped. The city blurred past as he slid across the zipline, heading straight for Voss's penthouse balcony. Crash! Jack landed, rolled, gun raised. Ghost landed beside him like a shadow. Inside, 2 guards turned, too late. Ghost silenced them before they could even react. Jack moved forward. The penthouse was sleek, black marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, expensive art. Too quiet. Then a voice. I was expecting you. Jack spun, gun aimed. Voss stood near the fireplace, holding a glass of wine. Calm, unbothered. Jack narrowed his eyes. You knew we were coming. Voss smirked. Of course. You've been sloppy, burning down cartels, taking out generals. It was only a matter of time before you found me. Jack's finger twitched on the trigger. Then why are you still here? Voss took a sip. Because you don't understand. You think I'm the mastermind? I'm just another piece on the board. Jack frowned. Then who's running the game? Voss chuckled. You'll find out soon enough. Then bang! A gunshot rang out. Jack dived as bullets tore through the glass windows. Voss was gone, a trap. Ghost pulled Jack to cover. Snipers! Marcus's voice screamed through the earpiece. Get out. Security teams inbound. Jack cursed. They had walked right into it. Red warning lights flashed. Jack and Ghost ran through the penthouse as armed guards stormed in. Cole's voice crackled over comms. Hold still, got him. Bang! A guard dropped, taken out by Cole's sniper rifle from across the city. Jack didn't stop, no time. They kicked open a side door, an emergency stairwell. More guards, more gunfire. Jack reloaded. Ethan, we need an exit. Ethan's voice was wild. Already working on it. Then boom! An explosion rocked the lower floors. Smoke poured into the stairwell. Jack smirked. That's our cue. They raced down, dodging fire, taking out guards as they went. Out the back exit. Sarah pulled up in a stolen black SUV. Get in. Jack and Ghost jumped in as Cole and Ethan covered them. Tires screeched. The city blurred past. Marcus hacked traffic cameras. They're tracking you. Lose them fast. Jack checked his gun. I know where to go. Sarah glanced at him. Where? Jack's voice was cold. We're going after the real boss. Back at their safe house, Marcus pulled up new intel. I decrypted Voss's files before we left. The real enemy is a group called the Sovereign Order. Jack frowned. Never heard of them. Marcus nodded. You wouldn't. They don't exist on paper. But they run everything. Wars, governments, corporations. Voss was just their middleman. Cole exhaled. And we just pissed them off. Sarah crossed her arms. So what's the next move? Jack looked at the screen. A new name. A new target. Nikolai Petrov, Russian oligarch. Alleged Sovereign Order member. Location Dubai. Jack stood. We find him. We end this. Ethan grinned. Dubai, huh? I always wanted to visit. Jack's jaw tightened. This isn't a vacation. Dubai, United Arab Emirates, the golden city glittered under the night sky. Luxury cars zipped through neon-lit streets. Towering skyscrapers reached into the heavens. Jack and his team stood on the balcony of a rented penthouse overlooking the city. Marcus tapped his laptop. All right, listen up. Nikolai Petrov, Russian oligarch, Sovereign Order member, arms dealer. He owns half the city. But most importantly, he's the one funding their operations in Europe. Sarah leaned on the railing. Where is he? Marcus pulled up security footage. Right now? A private party at the Black Lotus Hotel, penthouse suite. The guest list includes politicians, billionaires, and a whole lot of criminals. Cole smirked. Sounds fun. Jack turned to Ethan. How's our firepower? Ethan patted a duffel bag. Enough to start a war. Ghost checked his watch. We go in quiet. Jack nodded. We get in, get Petrov, and get out before anyone knows what's happening. Marcus sighed. One problem. The Black Lotus is a fortress. Armed guards, biometric scanners, rooftop snipers. We're walking into the most secure building in Dubai. Jack cracked his knuckles. Then let's break it. The Black Lotus Hotel was a symbol of wealth and power. The entire top floor was Petrov's playground. Jack and Sarah walked through the entrance, disguised as wealthy guests. Their target? The VIP elevator. Cole and Ghost entered through the service tunnels, silent, unseen. Ethan, already inside, posed as a bartender watching the room. Marcus, sitting in a van outside, whispered through the earpiece. Okay, cameras are down for 5 minutes. After that, we're screwed. Jack moved toward the elevator. 2 guards stood in the way. Sarah smiled, sauntering up to them. Excuse me, gentlemen. The guards turned, just as Jack and Ghost grabbed them, knocking them out in seconds. Ghost dragged the bodies away. Too easy. Jack swiped an access card and entered the elevator. Penthouse level. Time to meet Petrov. Chapter 21. The Wolf in the Penthouse. The doors slid open. The penthouse was massive. A private bar, golden chandeliers, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. And at the center of it all, Nikolai Petrov, dressed in a white suit, sipping vodka. He didn't even look surprised to see them. "Ah," he said in a thick Russian accent. "I was wondering when you'd show up." Jack's gun was up in a flash. "You know who we are?" Petrov smirked. "Of course. You made a mess in Berlin. Now you come here thinking you can stop the order?" Jack's jaw tightened. "You're selling weapons to terrorists. Your people murdered thousands." Petrov swirled his drink. "Spare me the lecture. The world runs on war, Slater. I don't start them. I just profit from them." Jack took a step closer. "Where is the sovereign order?" Petrov chuckled. "You think I'm going to tell you?" Jack pulled the trigger. Click. Nothing. The gun had jammed. Petrov grinned. "Did you really think I wouldn't prepare for this?" Then gunfire erupted. An ambush. Guards stormed the room, weapons drawn. Jack and Sarah dived behind the bar as bullets shattered glass. Marcus shouted through the earpiece. "Security teams incoming. You need to move now." Jack gritted his teeth. "Change of plans." Sarah reloaded. "Shoot our way out?" Jack nodded. "Shoot our way out." The fight was brutal. Cole sniped from an adjacent rooftop, taking out guards through the windows. Ethan detonated a smoke grenade, blinding the enemy. Ghost moved like a shadow, eliminating threats before they could react. Jack tackled Petrov, slamming him into a table. "Tell me where the order is." Petrov spat blood. "You'll never find them." Jack raised his fist. Then boom! The penthouse doors exploded inward. A new group stormed in. Black tactical gear. No insignia. No identification. Jack's blood went cold. Sarah whispered, "Who the hell are they?" One of the masked soldiers spoke into a radio. "Target acquired. Secure Petrov. Kill the rest." Jack's heart pounded. They weren't here for Petrov. They were here for them. "Move!" Jack yelled. The team scattered as bullets ripped through the penthouse. Petrov laughed as he was dragged away. "You're in over your head, Slater." Jack cursed. The sovereign order was cleaning up loose ends. And now they were the next targets. The team barely escaped. Drenched in sweat, they regrouped in a hidden safe house outside the city. Marcus's fingers flew over his laptop. "We have a massive problem." Jack wiped blood from his forehead. "Bigger than armed assassins?" Marcus turned the screen around. On it was a global network of the Sovereign Order. Names, locations, operations. And at the center, a mysterious figure, the true leader of the Sovereign Order. Codename, the Architect. Jack leaned in. "Who is he?" Marcus shook his head. "No one knows. No photos. No records. Nothing." Sarah exhaled. "This just keeps getting worse." Jack clenched his fists. "We find the Architect." Ghost nodded. "And we end this war." Jack stared at the glowing screen. The name The Architect burned in his mind. No photos. No records. No past. Whoever this person was, they weren't just hiding. They were untouchable. Marcus typed furiously. "I'm running every algorithm I have. If this guy exists, I'll find him." Sarah leaned over. "What about Petrov?" "He's still out there." Cole cleaned his rifle. "He won't talk." "The Order will make sure of that." Jack clenched his fists. "Then we force their hand." Ghost, silent as always, finally spoke. "We make them come to us." Jack nodded. It was time to flush the Architect out. Kyiv, Ukraine. The team set up shop in an old warehouse on the outskirts of the city. Their plan, bait the Sovereign Order into the open. Marcus had leaked false intel, a meeting, between Petrov and Jack, a deal that never existed. All they had to do was wait. Ethan loaded his shotgun. "Think they'll show?" Cole adjusted his scope. They always do. Minutes passed. Then movement. Through the dust-covered windows, black SUVs pulled up outside. Jack's earpiece buzzed. "Multiple targets," Marcus whispered. "This is a kill squad." Jack smirked. "Good." Then gunfire erupted. The Order's mercenaries stormed in, weapons blazing. But Jack and his team were ready. Boom! Ethan's grenade launcher sent men flying. Cole sniped from the rafters. Sarah and Ghost moved like phantoms, taking out enemies with precision. Jack grabbed a mercenary by the throat, slamming him into a crate. "Where's the Architect?" he demanded. The mercenary spat blood. "You'll never find him." Jack raised his pistol. "Try again." The man hesitated. Then he smirked. "You already have." Jack's stomach dropped. Suddenly, a voice crackled over the warehouse speakers. Smooth, cold, calculated. "Mr. Slater, you've been very busy." Jack's blood turned to ice. It was the architect. The team froze. Marcus frantically typed, "I'm tracing the signal. He's close." Jack aimed his gun at the ceiling speakers. "Show yourself." The architect chuckled. "Do you really think I would be here in person?" Jack gritted his teeth. "This was a game," the architect continued. "You've done well, Marquez Harlan Petrov, eliminating my pawns piece by piece. But you've only scratched the surface." Jack's mind raced. "Then why are you talking to me?" The architect's voice softened. "Because you interest me." Jack frowned. "I don't work for murderers." The architect chuckled. "Everyone works for someone, even you." Jack's fist clenched. "I'm going to find you." The architect sighed. "Perhaps, but will you still be standing when you do?" Then boom! Explosions tore through the warehouse. Jack was thrown backward. Smoke filled the air. The floor cracked. Marcus's voice screamed through the earpiece. "It's a trap! The whole place is rigged." Jack coughed through the dust. The architect was wiping the board clean. Jack grabbed Sarah and Ghost, pulling them to their feet. "Move!" The team sprinted for the exit as flames consumed the building. Outside, black drones hovered in the night sky. The architect was watching. Then they disappeared, and just like that, he was gone. The team regrouped in a safe house on the Poland border. Jack stared at the map. Red circles covered the globe. The order was everywhere. Sarah sighed. "We're fighting shadows." Ethan cracked his knuckles. "Then let's turn on the lights." Marcus slid his laptop forward. "I found something." A single file. Encrypted. Military-grade security. Title, Project Nemesis. Jack frowned. "What is it?" Marcus hesitated. "I think it's the Order's endgame." Jack took a deep breath. "Where?" Marcus zoomed in. A single location. Antarctica. Sarah blinked. "Wait, what?" Jack's eyes darkened. "They have a base." Ghost whispered. "The architect is there." Jack grabbed his rifle. "Then we're going to finish this." Antarctica, the Sovereign Order's secret facility. The snowstorm raged as the team moved through the frozen wasteland. Ahead, a massive underground base lay hidden beneath the ice. Jack's earpiece buzzed. Marcus whispered, "Satellite scans show hundreds of guards. This is their stronghold." Sarah pulled her coat tighter. "So what's the plan?" Jack checked his rifle. "We break in." Ethan grinned. "I was hoping you'd say that." The battle was brutal. Ghost sniped from the cliffs, taking out towers. Ghost infiltrated, cutting power to the defenses. Ethan planted explosives, shaking the facility to its core. Jack and Sarah fought their way inside. Then they found him, the architect. A tall figure in a black coat standing in the command center. He turned, face obscured by shadows. Jack raised his gun. "Game over." The architect smiled. "Oh, Mr. Slater, it's only just begun." Then the entire base started self-destructing. Jack's stomach dropped. The architect wasn't trying to win. He was erasing everything. Jack lunged, but the architect vanished into the smoke. The team barely escaped as the entire facility collapsed into the ice. The Sovereign Order was destroyed, but the architect was still out there, and Jack knew the war wasn't over. Back at their new hideout, Marcus hacked into the architect's final transmission. A single message played, "I let you win, Mr. Slater. We'll meet again." Jack clenched his jaw. This wasn't over. Sarah leaned against the wall. "So what now?" Jack stared at the message. Then he smirked. "We hunt." Jack sat in the dimly lit safe house, staring at the encrypted message on Marcus's laptop. "I let you win, Mr. Slater. We'll meet again." The words burned in his mind. The architect had escaped. The Sovereign Order had been crippled, but not destroyed. Sarah, leaning against the table, sighed. "We should be celebrating. We just took down the biggest criminal network in the world." Ethan, wiping blood from his knuckles, smirked. "Yeah, but the bastard still got away." Ghost, standing near the window, finally spoke. "He wanted us to win." Jack's jaw clenched. "I know." Cole loaded his sniper rifle. "So what now?" "We keep chasing shadows?" Jack exhaled. He had spent his life fighting battles. Some won, some lost. But this was the last one. He looked at Marcus. "Can you trace the message?" Marcus's fingers flew across the keyboard. "Already trying." It's bouncing through private military satellites, old CIA channels. Wait. His eyes widened. Got something. A location. A final lead. Buenos Aires, Argentina. Jack stood. That's where we end this. Buenos Aires, Argentina. Abandoned mansion on the coast. The team moved like ghosts through the shadows. Jack led the way, rifle raised. The architect had always been 10 steps ahead. Not this time. Inside, the mansion was eerily empty. No guards, no security. A single desk sat in the center of the room. On it, a gun and a laptop. Jack stepped forward cautiously. The laptop screen flickered to life. The architect's voice crackled through the speakers. "Welcome, Mr. Slater." Jack's grip tightened on his gun. "No more games." "Where are you?" A chuckle. "Right behind you." Jack spun, gun aimed. But there was no one there. The architect laughed softly. "Did you really think it would be that easy?" Jack gritted his teeth. "No, but I had to try." The laptop screen changed. A countdown timer appeared. 003. Ildro 02. Marcus's voice screamed over the earpiece. "Jack, get out." 0, run. Jack grabbed Sarah's arm and ran. Boom! The mansion exploded behind them, sending fire into the night sky. The architect had been one step ahead again. Jack lay in the sand, coughing. His team surrounded him, covered in dust and smoke. Sarah sat up. "He's gone," Marcus cursed. "He wiped everything. No traces left." Jack clenched his fists. Not everything. From the wreckage, a single file remained intact on Marcus's laptop. The title? The architect. Real name, Gabriel Slater. Jack's breath caught. Sarah whispered, "Jack, that's your last name." Jack's world spun. "No," he muttered. "That's impossible." Marcus read on. "It says he was killed in action 20 years ago. Special Forces. High-level intelligence officer. But he didn't die." Ethan exhaled. "You're telling me the architect is one of us?" Jack stared at the screen, heart pounding. If this was true, the architect wasn't just an enemy. He was family, and he was still out there. Jack's voice was low, steady. "We find him." Sarah nodded. "And this time, we finish it." Somewhere in a hidden location, a man watched Jack on a monitor. A shadowed figure with silver hair, sharp eyes, and a smirk that looked all too familiar. The architect, or rather Gabriel Slater. His voice was calm, amused. "You've done well, little brother. But the real war is just beginning." He closed the laptop and vanished into the night. Like, share, and subscribe for more.